Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Think Tank Sports. Think Tank Sports, where we think and you listen. Check us out on the socials. That's Facebook, Twitter, and the IG. We're out there. We got stuff going on, and listen to us on Anchor, which is now Spotify for podcasters, but you can find it in either spot. That's our preferred spot, but you can find us pretty much everywhere. We're out on the delivery systems for you, and watch us on YouTube as we continue to do that and provide some fun video content for you. We're here. It is Tuesday, March 14th, Pie Day, for those of you that are so inclined to be thinking about pie.
And I am.
And there's some of us that think about it as numbers, some of us that think about it as food. Anyways, but we are on the precipice of the beginning of the NCAA tournament, March Madness, as everyone loves to call it. And we're excited. I mean, this is two of the greatest weeks of sports in the year, with all the games, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for 2 weeks. It's just great stuff. We got lots to talk about, great games, upsets, all of that kind of stuff. So we're here to talk about it. Of course, I said we are here to talk about it. You heard a voice there just for a little bit. Got Mike on the other side of the screen. Mike, how the heck are you? Nice to see you without your sunglasses on today.
Yeah, well, we have improvement. It turned into, pink eye, and we had a little shingle scare. And anyway, long story short is got the right combination of ointments and drops, and finally feeling better, although still blurry and still referred to as a hero in most circles, especially around here.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'll take that. For sure, Dave, a fun time of year, especially if you're a sports fan. And we were just talking before we hit record about one of my favorite traditions for the NCAA men's basketball tournament. Remember, folks, we both grew up in an era that didn't have computerized anything, really.
Nope.
And I remember it was a big controversy with my fantasy football league, which I always did in person, 15 years in a row. And then when they all wanted to go digital and, not meet up for that big draft party, I stepped away. Funnily enough, I'm not in any of those anymore, but I guess my stand didn't matter. But you were telling me a story about you and the boys before we came on that I think the fans would love to hear, buddy.
Oh, yeah. So it tied into what Mike is saying. Before all the digital stuff, you had to wait until the newspaper came out. The newspaper, what's that, you say? Oh, printed copies, what's that, you say? To get the big bracket in the newspaper, which you could then cut out. And I did. I have them back to, I think, 1988. The printed bracket where I would then write in all the teams, write in all the scores, and have the official DP bracket every year. But now we get to print out
Wow.
copies of the bracket. And yes,
and I thought that was huge when that innovation came around. I remember I didn't have a printer, but I did have a fax machine for some reason. So one of my buddies would print it and then fax it to me. You imagine how good that quality was?
Oh,
yes.
Very blurry, very blurry.
Yeah.
So yeah, we print out the bracket. We got our pens, we got our highlighters.
Yes.
And highlight the teams that win along the way, cross out the teams that lose. So
something very important, Dave, while you're talking about that, what color highlighter do you prefer for this situation?
Well, for quite some time, and I believe I still have it, it's orange.
Nice, of course. I guess
What a surprise.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, that really, not all that surprising. Yep. We get out the orange highlighter for the wins and cross out for the losses. When you lose a Final Four team, there's a lot to cross out, particularly if it's in the first or second round.
Don't even say that.
Lot of X's that go into the bracket.
We're all excited on this podcast. Next podcast is the 9 X's in a row, actually only 6, but right. And when you're
right. but yeah.
champion loses in the first round, that's a hateful X right there.
Oh,
But
it is.
so
It's
your
painful.
boys are teenagers
Yes.
and go to public school. Not that there's anything wrong with that. We won't judge you for that.
Okay, thanks.
Um, and what did they say to you this morning, or about the whole bracket thing? They're on board with printing.
Oh yeah. Oh
brackets?
no, they've got, we're in a little group there with Mike, of course, couple other folks. And nope, we talked about it. We talked about their Final Four teams, and so there's some excitement today. I mean, obviously,
Nice.
it's Tuesday. We got a couple more days, but
Yeah,
the excitement is building. The brackets
sure.
are
And if you
printed and
want to
ready to go.
join our little bracket contest, you could check it out on our Twitter at Think Tank Sports, or do we put it on Instagram?
It's on
and
Facebook.
Facebook. I know it's on Facebook. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
Instagram's
it's an
tough
ESPN.
because unless you pay the big bucks, you can't actually put a link in there. It has to be in your profile. So it's
Gotcha.
an extra click. So it's on Twitter.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Out there on Facebook. It's a public bracket. Anybody can join. We'd love to see y'all jump on
Yep.
there and
Just search Think Tank
just,
Sports
yeah.
where it says look for a league, and you'll find us there. So
Yep,
we're
it's
the only
there.
one. Yep. Excellent. Let's get right into it. We're just going to go, folks. We're not going to go game by game and break down each game, but we're going to talk about each region and each round, and some things that jumped out and we noticed, or some upsets, or trends. So I'll give you the first one, Dave. We're starting right there in
the South.
And the Petercraft College, I will not put down for any wins. I probably costing myself several points, because Brandon Miller is for real. He is.
Oh, he's for real. All right.
Oh,
he can play. He can play both on and off the court.
Yeah. All right. There's going to be a positive episode, so we'll not get any worse than that. So for me, I have the playing game beating them. I mean, realistically, probably not, but I just
only happened once.
Yeah, I just can't root for them for 1/2 a second. Maybe next year, if they change coaches or whatever, things will calm down. But so that's my first shocker out of the East in the first game, Dave. I assume you're not joining me in that because you like money more than morals.
No, I'm not. I think the challenge with said team, Alabama, is that they are a very good team. They are well balanced. They've got a superstar in the aforementioned Brandon Miller. Nope. Got them there. When I look at this bracket, my upset special is Utah State over Missouri, Mike.
Yeah.
I
have that too. I don't know how much of an upset that is.
The Aggies. Yeah, no, I mean, it's not, but they have a lot of experience. They're versatile.
A small school with a senior laden roster, good guards. They don't have a big man, Utah State per se, but that's okay. Missouri is like, they joined the SEC, and it's just like they're buried down there. I don't think they have the athletes to compete in the current conference they're in, and I think they're going to go out there thinking we can win with our athletes, and they're going to be thoroughly surprised. Now, of course, with scouting and all of the aforementioned technology upgrades, it shouldn't surprise anybody ever. But these kids are 18 to 22-year-old kids. We're putting a lot of pressure on them. Let's remember, it's only a game. When a kid misses a free throw and costs you 5 shekels, it's going to be okay. Yeah.
When it's 10 shekels, that's when things get really nasty.
You can talk about it when it's 10. So I have Utah State as well. I think Missouri's lucky to be in the tournament, frankly.
Yeah. The other one, Mike, that I debated back and forth and was literally one of the last games in the first round that I decided on is the San Diego State Charleston 5-12. A 12 wins a game in the tournament every year. They have, for geez, I think I read like 32 out of the last 37 tournaments that a 12 seed has
Right.
won. College of Charleston, again, another one of those, senior laden.
Well, they had a great season, but they lost the conference tournament early, right? They got bounced early, I believe. It was like one of those games that maybe I'm thinking of somebody else, but I'm pretty sure that
I,
Charleston did not get the automatic. They got an outlier.
yeah, I think you're right because
Yeah.
they showed them. Yep, there it is. 32 of the last
Yep.
37. I did read that. Yeah, because
Okay.
they had the big celebration there
Right.
when they were announced in. San
Right.
Diego
They
State
weren't.
is a very good team too. I mean, this is a very, very evenly matched 5-12, if you ask me.
This is gonna be a great game. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I took San Diego State, but I really was a flip flop. Because I have some other
Yep.
5-12 games that I'm in it really a little bit more interested in. This one is yeah,
So
we'll see.
another quick story. College of Charleston is near and dear to my heart. I used to belong to a league. It was a men's college basketball regular season league. It was run out of this little bar in Albany, New York.
Fantasy you're talking about.
Um, well, no, I'll tell you how it was set up, and you call it what you want.
Okay.
So they ranked preseason teams 1 through 10, 15 through, or 10 through 15, 15 through 20, and then anything below 20. So those are A, B, C, and D. You had 4 groups.
Right. And back then, folks, the poll was top 20, not top 25. So
Exactly. Great
that
point.
there's the reasoning behind that if you were unsure.
Right. So the goal was most wins in the regular season. If you took an A, that one of the top 10 teams, you could only take from the unranked, the other 2. You got 3 teams total. So
Gotcha.
the
Okay.
strategy was, did you take a mixture of B's, C's, and D's? Did you go for the A? If Duke was projected to have, only 1 loss, you'd probably have to take them to keep up with the Joneses. Anyway, College of Charleston at that time was a huge powerhouse in the SWAC, and we didn't have the digital coverage. So I would literally call, I was working in the mortgage business. I'd call up and the College of Charleston's AD and say, hey, can you fax us a copy of your schedule? We're excited about the season. And they never really asked where I was from because I had no answer, but they would send it to us. And, they were consistently a team that was unranked and won a lot of games, 25, 28 games a year.
Yep.
So that's all of that said, fun story about the past that will never be repeated. College of Charleston I took in this game because of my history with them.
And 31 wins for the College of Charleston this year. So once again,
not too shabby. Yeah.
Right in line with what Mike was picking up on some 20 years ago or more.
But yeah,
interesting brackets here. Alabama, you have Arizona in this bracket, which is powerful. You have a very good Baylor team. Mm-hmm. Virginia also in this bracket. I'm not too high on Virginia.
What are your thoughts on Virginia as an ACC, biased and been kind of a thorn in Syracuse's side?
Yeah, I mean, look, they're a very good team. I don't necessarily care for their style overall. This year, though, I mean, I saw them. I talked about it. I went to the game. I don't think they're that great. I actually have San Diego State beating them in the second round, just because I mean, they are playing well, but I just think they're a team that's going to get bounced early on. And so
I agree with that so much. I took Furman.
And I heard some folks talking about Furman.
They have a prolific scorer and play tremendous team defense. Again, this acceleration in physical talent is always a challenge with these small schools. Can they play at that level against these guys that just haven't faced anybody like them all year? So we'll see. Furman, but you got to take some chances early, and I agree with you that Virginia's weak. So they're a high seed with a target, whether it's first round or second round. I agree, out early for them. just not a vintage Virginia team at all.
Nope. Anything
What
else in the
else?
South?
We see the Big East has, Creighton there. I think Creighton's not getting nearly the love they deserve, and you'll see I take them a little further than probably most. I've watched them a couple times this season. Very impressed with their shooting accuracy. It's like one of these games they're not going to shoot so well. They've done it all year, so
Yeah. Yep.
I like them. I got to mention them.
Yeah. Nope. For sure. I mean, look, they beat Connecticut. They lost to Arizona only by 2, and they beat Xavier. Obviously, these are wins in the league. Providence, Arkansas. I mean, they're a very, very good team. There's no doubt about that. I think NC State is terrible. I cannot believe that
Absolutely.
Clemson didn't get in. Clemson beat NC State 3 times.
Right.
Yet somehow NC State is in. I mean, I'm sorry. The committee has you just have to look at stuff like that. You've got to drill down when you're looking at 2 teams from the same conference. You can't put one in over the other that lost 3 times to the other one.
Right. Someone in that committee has got to have that information and make a strong case.
And they have the same record. They're both 23-10.
Right. I didn't look at the quad wins or any of that, so I'm not for sure.
No,
what
I didn't either.
Situation was, but still.
Yeah.
I agree. You can't do that if you're the NCAA committee here. So South is pretty much handled. Let's go to the East.
The East. Yep. So we got the East is where you have the Purdue Boilermakers there sitting on the 1 line. You have Marquette from the Big East, Kansas State, Puke in the 5 seed. You have what I think is a flawed Kentucky team. You have Michigan State, a lot of blue bloods in this bracket, Mike.
A lot of blue bloods, and that's interesting what you said about Kentucky. But Puke, Dave, did exactly what we didn't want them to do, and really put it together at the end, and then made their run in the ACC tournament, and have to be taken seriously. It's not a classic great Duke team, but unfortunately, I think they're going to be around for a little bit here. I don't think Michigan State has a chance, against me, you, and the boys. I just don't think they have a chance at all this year. So I have USC beating them. I like that USC team. I'm not going to say I watched a ton of them because that'd be a lie. But I've seen them a couple of times I saw them a lot early. So I'm hesitant to say that, this is a solid upset, even though it's not an upset on paper.
No.
I like USC in that game, buddy.
Yeah, I took Michigan State. They're definitely a bit of a flawed team, which a lot of these teams are.
Oh yeah. We're gonna have set the record for the word flawed, I guess.
Yeah. But they're playing a little bit better. I certainly take Tom Izzo. I only have them winning just this 1 game. And there's definitely some emotion here for me, but I took Oral Roberts over Duke. This is one of my 5-12.
That's fair. I took Furman in previous region. Yeah.
Oral Roberts
hated to see Oral Roberts get the Duke matchup.
Yeah.
Because that was a small conference team that I thought could have done something, and they just won't be able to compete at the end with Duke's.
30-4. This is the same team 2 years ago as a 15 got to the Sweet 16. They're, as I read here, they have won 17 games in a row coming into the tournament. So we'll see. I think this is these 5-12s. I think this is a closer matchup than people want. As far as that goes, Mike.
The Kentucky Providence game should be a barn burner. This is not a great Providence team either. Ed Cooley's done a heck of a job at that school. Year in and year out, they play tenacious defense. Going to out effort you on the boards. And if they have a scorer or two, that they make a deep run. Not this year, for Providence, and Kentucky, man, they just name after name after name comes off that bench. And I know, Coach Cal and the whole thing, but I think Kentucky, if they can play for each other and not for themselves, has a lot of potential in this wide open tournament. So I have them beating Providence. And I've been accused of some Big East bias this year. And so
it's not just this year, but okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Last year,
I did grow up in
picked
the 80s
Villanova
watching college
to
basketball.
run the whole thing, which wasn't a bad pick last year, by the way.
Right. So, here we are again, with two traditionally very good basketball teams facing each other. But again, I just think, why are you so down on Kentucky, I guess is what I would ask you.
Yeah, I mean, they have some big losses against big teams. UCLA, Gonzaga, Alabama, all lost by double digits. They lost to Kansas by 9, Michigan State by 9. Again, earlier on, they're just seem to be scrambling around and not as solid. Usually Calipari's teams get more solid as the year goes on. They've done that a little bit, but
right
at 21-11, I'm not sold on them. I did also pick them in this game. I came close to picking Providence, quite honestly, as far as that goes. Mike, the other game, and I think this a lot of people are going to be looking at this one too, is the Ragin' Cajuns against Tennessee. Tennessee lost their guard earlier this month. They've coming in losing 6 of their last 10. They're just not playing very well. And the Ragin' Cajuns, great rebounding team. I just think they're going to give Tennessee some troubles. And I took the Ragin' Cajuns in this game against Tennessee.
Okay. I think, very, very good points, and a team that is often overlooked, getting some love from you there. I think that's great.
Yeah.
A team, just to finish up this region real quick, Marquette, what do they have to do to get some respect?
Yeah. Yeah. We literally just went through and didn't even talk about them, and they're the number 2 seed.
Right. Number 2 seed, 6th in the country. Really had just a great season. So I have USC beating Michigan State, and then I have Marquette moving on there, versus the Vermont Catamounts, David, that Albany once again not heard from in the America East. They had that nice run in the the mid 2020s or 2010s, right? I never know how to say that right. They had a nice run. They had a nice run, in the 90s, but it's just one of those teams that I laugh about. I knew a couple of people that have worked there and have played ball there, and knowing them, I just laugh when I see their name. I don't know how, but I was telling 900 other stories.
There it is.
Yeah.
No, Marquette deserves a lot of love. 7-2 against the top 25, 28-6, playing very, very well. Mike, I have them doing some real damage. This half of the bracket for them, not terrible. I mean, it's Kansas State, I think, is the team that could give them the most trouble, but I would say this is a lighter half of the East bracket.
Yes, I say that for sure, and so we should probably say that they are taking care of Marquette. The committee did, but I guess that just doesn't jump off the page.
And the regionals, and we'll come back to that. Back to that.
Midwest, Dave. I think this Houston team is not very good. Especially, they're getting a lot of love and respect for the past 2 years and their accomplishments, and rightfully so. But the conference they play in is just not challenge them
It's horrible.
at all. And they
No.
still finished ahead of the ACC in conference rankings by the end of the year. What is that? The America, I can never remember the name of their conference, Houston.
Is it
AAC?
American Athletic?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But they've just gotten by on reputation and poor challenges this year. So I think they're overrated at the 2. Or the 1, excuse me. There.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Um,
No, I my big thing for them, geez, it says they average 75 points a game. I feel like I never see them get to 75 points a game.
it must have been early.
Yeah, I feel like this is a team that struggles to score. And when they obviously defensively 56.5 points per game. I mean, they're one of the elite defensive teams in the country. The challenge is though, and we've seen it pull up in multiple tournaments for them, is when they can't score. I mean, they just have trouble scoring, period.
No alpha this year to go get a bucket. Also.
Yeah. And that's been the challenge.
That's a big
there.
problem. Yeah.
But that being said, Northern Kentucky, they're gonna, that's gonna be ugly. I have Iowa winning over Auburn. I think Houston will take care of Iowa too. So
same.
As far as that goes, what else you got in this bracket?
It's just Iowa, Auburn, just 2 teams that are never going to go any higher than they are here, and they're not going to go much lower either. They're just going to be around and be decent, and maybe catch lightning in a bottle one year for Fran McCaffrey, your boy, from Siena, and other places too. Who else? Indiana. I'm underwhelmed by them, to be frank.
Yeah, I mean, you should, if you want to be frank, you can do another podcast, because here you're Mike. I did watch a fair amount of them in the Big Ten tournament. I do like them. What I saw, at times, I guess in both Penn State, and then they also played Purdue, right? They
didn't back down from them.
No, they didn't. But on offense, they just lose their identity. And they had some stretches. Like if they have a stretch like that in the tournament, they're going to get beat.
Of course.
They have great offensive talent and certainly ability to make a deep run. But that's what I saw from them, is it's just a struggle for their identity, not remembering they need to go inside out. With a lot of their passing. And so, a little bit of the struggle bus there, I think, for them. But
this little pod, I would say, is the all enigma teams. They're just a bunch of teams that have been good, not great, also not terrible. And the bottom half, Dave, I love me a good upset special. And this play-in game tonight.
Mississippi State and Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Mississippi State, in the top 2 or 3 in team defense all year. Can't shoot a lick, but bet if you were hammering the unders all season, you had a nice year with Mississippi State. And Pittsburgh, is always a quality team. I've seen them play some pretty tough games this year, and unfortunately come out on the losing end. But the ball goes your way once or twice, and all of a sudden you're a playing team that's making a little run, and they're playing the winner of they play
Iowa State.
That winner plays Iowa State. I think Iowa State's getting cold at the wrong time, definitely on the downhill of their season, not peaking, the opposite of peaking. So that's my thoughts there, and we'll see in a few minutes how far I take out whoever wins this play-in game. Is that tonight? Do you know? I don't have it in front of me.
I don't have it in front of me either. Let's see. No.
So
I do while you're looking at that, my other big upset is I have Drake beating Miami. And I know we skipped down a little bit there.
Really?
Yeah, Miami certainly has played very well. I mean, Syracuse had a very good chance to beat them earlier in the season in Miami. But Drake, 5 starters, average age 23 years old. They're again another one of these experienced teams. Lots of good things that they have going on there. I'm
sure.
Again, the 512s, maybe I'm obsessing a little bit about that. This will be in your backyard, Mike,
Yes.
at the MVP Arena in Albany on Friday night. And I think it's going to be upset city, baby. I'm taking Drake.
Yeah, you definitely give me the full Dickie V there, huh?
Yes, I am.
If you so are inclined at 9:10 p.m. this evening on True TV, with the one time a year we have to find out where True TV is in your package.
Yep.
Then you will see
Mississippi State and Pittsburgh. Thank you for looking that up.
At 6:40, the other playing game we'll get to on the other side of the bracket, Southeast Missouri State and Texas A&M Corpus Christi.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so a couple of playing games tonight. That should be quite interesting for sure.
And then, so Mike, we'll come back to the regionals. Texas, a lot of people have been saying Colgate over Texas. Colgate certainly is a good team, but they're not in the league with Texas. You could make an argument for the Big Texas 12 being the best conference in the country this year. I think Texas is very good. Colgate has no chance of beating them. People can say what you want. Colgate, no, not happening.
I need to go back to your previous pick. What was that game we were talking about?
Oh, Drake over Miami.
Oh, Miami. I love the Miami guards. I love their depth. I love Larnaga. So I'm directly against you there on that one, buddy.
Oh, that's fine.
Yeah, that's what makes this a good podcast.
Makes it interesting.
Right?
Yep.
That's why our tens of fans come rushing back.
Yep.
Every week or so.
So you want to move to the West, Mike?
Yeah, let's do the West real quick here, buddy. Kansas, returning champion. I've said it a couple times this year, pretty much they literally replaced 70% of their scoring and didn't miss a beat.
Yep.
The Gary Dick, I believe his first name is Gary.
Grady Dick.
Grady Dick has turned into, irrational confidence, hit a big three, grab a rebound, play defense at the right time in the game guy for them. And they just have athletes everywhere. I think, probably should have been the number one overall, in my opinion, with the off-court stuff with the losers down south notwithstanding. This is a great...
Let me tell you about Alabama.
Pulling out all the improvisation and stuff tonight.
I'm with you. Kansas, though, they're very, very good.
They say it's wide open. There's no blue bloods here. Here's your blue blood right here.
Yeah.
So, and they're in a good spot. I don't think. I love UConn. I couldn't wait to talk about UConn. They got the kid, Andre Jackson from Amsterdam, New York, which is exactly between where the opening round games are in Albany and where I live. If you drew a halfway line, it's probably right about there.
Yeah.
But I love this team and Hurley coaching. I think it's time to take him and his name to the next level. And they're battle tested in the Big East. They've run 9 to 12 deep all season. Of course, they're going to shorten that here in the tournament. But if they do get foul trouble or an injury, it's not the end for them. So I'm very partial to this UConn team.
Nope. They started out really hot. I believe they were 14-0 to start the year. Got up to number 2 or number 3, hit a rough stretch. went back down and have turned it back around. And I think now, Mike, are playing kind of the way they did earlier in the year. And no, this is a team I really like as well.
And unfortunately for your boy Ricky P, he caught a draw here because that Iona team is nice. Of course, Siena, which is also another Division I basketball program with some history in our area, faced them a couple of times and it just wasn't pretty. And Siena was one of the better teams in the MAC. So they're a good team and well coached, obviously. But I just don't think they could make that one last leap and make an upset here. So Iona, and if Ricky P is still in Buffalo, New York next year, something drastically bad has happened off the court. Which
why? What's in Buffalo? Iona is down near New York City.
Oh yeah. I always get what's the school in Buffalo? It's in the MAC. Do you know off Tucker?
Niagara. Canisius. Yeah.
I should know Niagara from a Niagara Falls.
You should, yes.
Go back to Jersey, you moron.
Yeah, but the talk is potentially
Rutgers,
at
right?
Patino. No, St. John's.
Oh, right. Yep, that'd be a good job for him. I don't know who's there now, unfortunately.
Yeah, we talked the other day. Like
Disrespecting
they
him.
just no, he's been let go.
Okay.
Already, so that's why the speculation.
A little speculation.
Yeah, what else we got in here? Mike Gonzaga as a 3. I mean, oh geez. Drew Timme, it feels like he's been there forever. And of course, now he is the all-time leading scorer in Gonzaga basketball history. So he has been there forever.
Right.
Gonzaga is a very, very good balanced team. I mean, obviously they've been good for quite some time. So that certainly is going to pose some challenges there. I'm just trying to
Grand Canyon is a college. Did you know that?
I knew it was a location.
Yeah, it's a college. Northwestern, team from the Big Ten. That's how little respect the committee had for the Big Ten because they had a nice season for their program, and they weren't exactly rewarded here. Boise State, they should probably
be a 10 seed.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then they run into UCLA, who is another blue blood that I think is live in this tournament. They're gonna be around a while. So
yeah, it will be interesting to see how they deal with losing Jalen Clark to the Achilles injury.
Yeah, he's six man for a reason. But strong defender, and he finished a lot of games. So
so that'll be interesting as far as that goes. I got Boise State, Mike. I like them.
Yeah, they're the one team I didn't see. I didn't get a handle on. I didn't do any research on. So for those horrible reasons, admittedly, that I can't move them onto my bracket. But I think the committee every year, they try to tell us how important the regular season and scheduling is, and all of those things. And a team like Northwestern, who plays, above their athletic level and their schedule, has a good year and then, gets buried. Is Northwestern going to travel to, these games? I don't think so.
In Sacramento,
I don't see it, so that sucks. But overall, obviously Clemson not getting in is a huge glaring omission when you look at NC State. I can't complain a ton.
And Rutgers, I think, is the other one. I heard Steve Peichel talking the other day. He's the Rutgers coach. Said he's made and my camera's just having all kinds of fun times. So you get to look at my mosaic, saying that he thought they had met all of the matrix, saying he had seen like 100 brackets and they were like in on 98 of them going in. He was very diplomatic, but you could tell he was annoyed that they didn't get in. But he said, you know what, we're a number 1 seed in the NIT. We're going to get some more home games, get to continue to work on our game. So he was focusing there, but Rutgers is another team. that had some really big wins during the year that didn't get in. So
Yeah, it's a thankless job for sure. I guess I would replace committee members before I replaced um, how the criteria is. I just don't think they're not getting college basketball people in there.
yeah.
It seems like you've been the chancellor at such and such school, or isn't Condoleezza Rice on the committee still? I know she
I
was
don't
at
know. I
one
know she
point.
was at one
Yeah,
point. I know they try to rotate a lot of the members in there, and maybe that's part of the challenge. I mean, I get that you want to have some experienced folks, but you're also rotating people through there. So I think it's challenging on any which way you slice it, really, Mike.
I agree. So let's move on to our Sweet 16s, and then maybe as we give our Sweet 16 team, we'll say who they beat to get there. That way, we're not bogged down in another round before we start have the rubber meet the road. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's fine.
So my first Sweet 16 team is Huggy Bear, West Virginia. Have them beating the play-in game, and the play-in game obviously beating the scumbag murderers in Alabama. And I have them facing Furman, buddy. I have in the round of 32 Furman against the College of Charleston,
Yeah.
as previously discussed. And then Furman winning a tight game against Charleston to go against West Virginia in the Sweet 16, and what would be a tremendous matchup, and you'd really get the juices flowing sentimentally for Bob Huggins
Yeah.
and making a run. So what do you have in that top
You
team
know,
in that Sweet 16?
fairly, I mentioned San Diego State. I have them getting there and then beating Virginia, and playing
Okay.
what Mike has called the scumbag team in the Sweet 16.
I gotta come up with a better name.
Yeah,
But yes.
probably. And then the bottom half, I had mentioned Utah State, but at that point, straight chalk. So Arizona and Baylor moving on into the Sweet 16.
Okay. I have Creighton, my Big East bias, definitely taking over there.
Yep.
And them playing, if I could read, that would be cool. Arizona. Arizona's
Yep.
the juggernaut.
Mhm.
Another blue blood that is live and poised to make a run in this tournament.
Yep.
So Arizona and Creighton there. Bottom half or the next region.
Yep.
The
Yep.
East
In the
region.
East. Yep.
Yeah. I have Purdue. I don't think, spoil this now, I don't think they're a championship team, but they're certainly very capable of coming out and playing, two games where they look dominant. I have them playing FAU after they handled the Texas Southern FDU matchup in the first round. And then I have your boys from Duke University beating Tennessee in the previous round and beating Oral Roberts. Filkowski, Lively,
Yeah.
and the other kid for Duke. It just a 1, 2, 3 combo that very few teams in the country have, and they're playing well right now. Believe me, I'm not enjoying saying this, buddy,
No.
especially to your face. I know how you feel. I don't want to hurt you.
Nope. It's all good.
That's where we are for those guys. So Duke and Purdue. Who do you have in that bottom half of the matchup there?
Yep. So, I mean, I've got Purdue. I already mentioned I was taking Oral Roberts there,
Right.
and the Ragin' Cajuns. So a 12-13 matchup. And I, just for funsies, I took the Ragin' Cajuns. So I've got Purdue against Louisiana there in the top half of that Eastern Sweet 16.
And so the Ragin' Cajuns would start getting huge underdog love there, especially against Edey and the monster that he is in the middle.
Yep.
for Purdue. So I would be interested to see that, even though I didn't pick it. That would be a fun matchup.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. What do you got down to?
Yeah, down in
Where are we,
the
Midwest?
bottom. Yeah, and
Yeah.
still here in the other half in the east.
Oh, right. Sorry.
Straight, literally straight chalk. Kansas State versus Kentucky, Marquette, Michigan State, and I have Marquette and Kansas State winning. So 2 and 3 into the Sweet 16.
I have Marquette and Kentucky in this game. I have Kentucky beating Kansas State. That's the pivotal game for Kentucky. They can do that. They're going to make a run.
Yeah.
And I do believe they can get over the hump there. Marquette, for me, taking out USC, and I already talked about them. So the top of the next bracket, right?
Yep.
Midwest.
Yep. Over to the Midwest. Yep.
Go ahead.
Yep. Have Houston beating Iowa, Xavier, and Texas. Where my changes, then I have Texas and Xavier in the bottom half. I know I'm totally messing with our format just because I'm looking at it funny, I guess. And I have Drake beating Indiana and getting and Drake getting to the Sweet 16 there against the Houston Cougars.
Wow. I have the Houston Cougars beating where are we?
Iowa,
all messed up, and my
Auburn.
eyes. No, so I do have Iowa, and I have Miami in that game.
Yes,
Again,
Miami. Yep.
Love the Miami Guards. I have Iowa beating Houston. Houston overrated, unchallenged, and Iowa has played a tough schedule. For whatever you want to say about them, and then again, I love Miami. And then the bottom half, or the next bracket, or
no, bottom half.
Bottom half. I have the play-in team, either Mississippi State or Pitt,
beating Iowa State.
And then I have them beating Xavier in that next game. Another overrated team, in my opinion.
Interesting.
Xavier, yeah. We haven't mentioned them.
No.
For one sentence all year, I don't think. And here they are at a 3 seed.
They're 25 and 9.
Just don't see it. Just don't see it. So I have them facing Texas A&M, who is a team I mentioned a few weeks ago. I've watched them several times this year, including recently twice. And they're just very impressive. They don't do anything, they're not in the top 10 in any category, but they do everything very well. So Texas A&M versus the play-in winner, who I believe will be Mississippi State. Just to be clear.
Okay.
Do we have to declare at any point, or is it whoever?
No, they don't. You don't.
If someone wins, you just get the play-in win.
You just get that team. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure because no picking it there. So, okay. Then the final bracket down there is the West. Mike, you've talked about your
you could predict this one easily for me.
Favorite Kansas team.
And my second favorite, UConn.
Yep.
So we got Kansas beating Arkansas, that's going to be one of the best college basketball games in a long time. I think Arkansas is tenacious on defense. Historically have been, but this team has restored that.
Eric Musselman, the coach there. His dad Bill Musselman, who was a longtime coach of the Albany Patroons back in the day.
Absolutely. A staple in the Capital Region.
Yes, Mike and I have fond memories of the Albany Patroons.
Absolutely.
As far
Not
as that
so
goes.
Fond memories trying to get out of the Washington Avenue Armory alive.
No. Right on the corner, very busy street. Albany Patroons also, a little history lesson for you, before Bill Musselman, or after? No, before.
Phil
Jackson coached there. and coached them to like a,
NBA champion with the Houston Rockets.
oh
Mario
gosh, weren't they like
Ellie.
50-6 or 48-6?
It's something.
I mean, they had some
Yes, obscene.
ridiculous record with Phil
Yep.
Jackson, which is interesting because he then went to coach the Bulls team that went 72-10.
Right
But
from Albany, New
anyways,
York. Who knew?
yep, right from Albany.
So we
Yep. So I also have Kansas and UConn there.
Wonderful.
Bottom half of the bracket, Mike. I like Gonzaga. I have them there beating Grand Canyon, which is a school and a location, and then taking out TCU. And then the bottom half,
I have the
Mike.
exact same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I am just, I guess I like taking out the Blue Bloods. I'm taking Boise State over UCLA, and
Really?
getting them into the Sweet 16. I think the loss of the guard for UCLA is just going to be just enough, even though they're very experienced. You know, they've been to a Final Four.
Right. Was this team not just in its history? We know college sports history, doesn't matter as much as pros because the guys are only around 2-3 years if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But the core of this team, UCLA team, was there in the bubble as freshmen. So, and Mick Cronin, again, one of the more fabulous bald people on the earth, and he's not afraid to polish that sucker up and get after it. So, for sure. And then who's the last matchup?
That is UCLA as on the bottom
and
there.
Gonzaga. Gotcha.
And Gonzaga. Yep.
So we're at the Elite Eight.
We are at the Elite Eight.
Flying. All right. Why don't you kick it off? I'm doing a lot more talking.
Yeah. So if we, follow our wonders back up to the South region, I got Alabama and Baylor, 1-3. I like Baylor. Again, I think the Big 12 has been the best conference all year. Baylor benefits from playing there. It's a team that's beaten UCLA, beat Gonzaga, has beaten Kansas and Texas. I just like this Baylor team. Again, they have some pedigree from the last few years, obviously some of those. And so as I wanted to mention these regions. So in the South, they are in the KFC Yum Center there in Louisville, nice. Kentucky.
Very, very fair.
So Alabama and Baylor, and I have Alabama going to the Final Four.
Well, we're going right. We're going to go both right now. Okay.
Oh yeah, why not?
Yeah. Okay. I have Huggy Bear, Sentimental West Virginia, reaching the Elite Eight, taking out Furman, who I had, making a upset run.
Yep.
And then they're playing Arizona, and Arizona's going to win that matchup. The dream ends for Bob Huggins. That Arizona team. They're so good, Dave. I don't know why. I mean, again, it's probably competition. The Pac-10 not exactly on fire this year, and don't have a name brand player as far as recruiting and NBA potential. But I'm sure there are. I just don't know their names myself. I don't know. I just really, really think this Arizona team has something, and they're going to meet up against West Virginia, who's going to let the emotions, and Huggy Bear, as great as he is as a guy, and you love to have a beer with him.
Yeah.
Maybe not the best tactician and in-game adjustments, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So down to where, buddy?
Down to the East. Straight chalk for me in these two: Purdue over the Raging Cajuns, Marquette over Kansas State. So Purdue Marquette, which should be just a phenomenal regional final there in Madison Square Garden, where certainly Marquette will feel a little bit more comfortable, as the Big East normally plays their tournament there. So that could be certainly somewhat of an advantage there. So I like that. And then I'm taking Purdue over Marquette to go to the Final Four.
Okay. So you believe in the big man for Purdue, and you're not concerned about their guards at all,
No,
or lack of guards, lack of depth.
Yeah, I think what you're going to see is a lot of in and out from their offense inside and out. And those guards can make the threes when they're open. And I think they're going to get open because of the attention that Zach Edey's going to get.
Okay.
And he's so tall that even when they do throw it in, he can hold the ball over everybody. And there are very few players in this tournament that can get near him with the ball. So he can take it and then throw it back out.
No, his wingspan is tremendous.
You know, and we're just talking about him on the offensive end.
Right.
So
that's true. You know, with big guys in the tournament, stamina and foul trouble are always, you know, the two major concerns. My wife actually was watching the other night when they were on, and they called a foul on him, offensive foul, and she didn't understand. And I said, you know, that's the nature of the big guy. Ask any referee who the hardest man in the history of the NBA was to guard or to referee, and it's Shaq.
Yeah.
You know, it literally on every play could be either an offensive foul or a mugging.
Well, and guys would just bounce into him and go flying. And if you're looking quick, you see the guy go flying, you think Shaq fouled him.
How could it not be?
He just 330 pounds and somebody runs into him, they're going to bounce off him.
Right. Absolutely.
So who do you got after all this conversation?
I'm confused where we are. Buddy.
We are in the East in Madison Square Garden, Purdue,
and
Marquette, Kansas State.
The Elite Eight. And then saying our Final Four.
Yeah, you've got. I mean, you have Kentucky.
I had Huggy Bear and Arizona in that one.
Yep.
I have Duke.
Oh, jeez.
I know.
And now I got to say something. Now you're killing me. All right. So you got Puke
and Marquette.
Puke and Marquette. Okay.
You know, I'd be a fraud for what I said 4 minutes ago about Marquette being sixth in the country and not getting any respect and love. I have them beating a very talented Kentucky team.
Yep.
But I think they'll win that, and USC. So again, Marquette doesn't get any help from anybody or any respect, having to go through those teams to get to this point. And then Dave, in my Final Four matchup against the Arizona Wildcats, Coach K returns from retirement and takes the reins from John Shire.
No.
He tells him to go clean the basketballs as
So you're taking Duke over Marquette in the East, Mike?
I am, buddy, even though I have a Big East bias and I'm not, you know, a huge Duke fan by any means. I'm not even a fan.
Boy, an Arizona Duke matchup
because I'm a
contrarian would be outstanding. I don't like Duke either, but when you think about that, that's tremendous.
No, they would break the internet. And to be all I've heard all year, Dave, from every expert, pundit, and joker, middle-aged white guy with a podcast, is that this year is wide open and crazy stuff can happen and anybody can win. And, you know, hold on to your hats. And I just think when everybody's saying that, it never, you know, comes true.
Mm-hmm.
And Duke's the team that injuries just killed them early. They all came back at different increments, and so it's taken longer to gel, especially with freshmen. And they're just at the right place at the right time. And the blue bloods are blue bloods for a reason, because the years when they're not supposed to win, they at least make deep runs. I know that all kills you. I know, Dave. I know.
Okay.
Don't act, bro.
All right. So over to the Midwest, where we already know that you've taken out the number one overall seed in the tournament, with Houston losing to Iowa. I had mentioned Drake there. I have Drake beating Houston when we get to the regionals there.
Okay.
And this is interesting, Mike, in the Midwest. It's the T-Mobile Center.
Oh, see what you did there?
In Kansas City, Missouri.
We're right in the middle. T-Mobile Center.
Yes.
Will Jackson Mahomes come and do a little TikTok dance for us?
Oh, geez.
Maybe
One
try
could
to get some
only
tongue off the 40-year-old business manager.
hope that we could see more of Patty Mahomes.
Why can't
No.
his brother get on a helicopter with, Steve Vai or any of those guys that got in bad helicopters?
No idea.
I shouldn't be wishing death on anybody.
No
so
idea.
I
Now
slow
we're
down on that
really
but,
getting off track. So I've got Drake there, Mike.
Yes.
And then
Drake.
I have
Drake.
I have Drake beating Houston. I mean, you have Iowa taking out Houston, so I have Drake taking out Houston. And then I have Texas and Xavier, and I have Texas winning, and then playing Drake, and I have Texas going to the Final Four in Houston.
Our
Not
picks are
Houston
so far off
in the Final
right,
Four.
Our picks are so far off for each other in this region that I don't even know where we are. I can't even go back that far on mine. I think we're in the last Final Four entrant, correct?
We've got one. We have one more. We're in the Midwest,
right.
Then we're doing the West.
Okay. So the Midwest, I have.
So you have
Miami
Iowa
Hurricane.
Oh, Miami. Yep.
Beating Iowa.
Yep.
Having previously beating Indiana.
Yep.
And they will be facing the Texas A&M Aggies. Dave.
Yes, you said Texas A&M. You like them
because
they beat them a bunch.
They will finally the Cinderella playing game Mississippi State Pitt combo.
Yeah.
Poo platter combo there.
Falls flat.
And so we get the juggernaut everyone signed up for beginning of the year, Texas A&M and Miami.
Texas A&M and Miami. And the Final Four pick is Texas
Miami
A&M.
Hurricane. No, Miami
Hurricanes.
And this is one day I went up and down, left and right. And,
wow.
Probably because no one thinks this is going to happen in reality. There wasn't a lot of info on there to make my base my opinion.
Yeah.
Ultimately, I guess it's the coach. I love Larinaga, and I just think that they have Cinderella written all over them. Nobody's talking about Miami, probably rightfully so. I'll beat you to the joke, but
okay.
And then on the bottom in the West.
Yep, the bottom in the West.
Chalk with Kansas. Chalk Jayhawk.
And this Mike is so the West is in Las Vegas, and there was a reason why I was mentioning the arenas in Las Vegas. It's the T-Mobile Arena, not to be confused with the T-Mobile Center in Kansas City. The T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas.
So, who's my in-studio host? I can picture him.
Clark Kellogg, Greg Gumbel.
No, Greg Gumbel.
Yep.
Yeah. He can say, let's send it back to T-Mobile and have a 50% chance of being right without even know where he's going.
Yeah.
So that's not the big Roomba, Dave. It's a different. It's a separate basketball arena.
Not the big Roomba.
Yeah.
No.
That's what I thought. Good. Yeah. I'm glad it's not in the big Roomba.
Yeah.
So who do you have, buddy?
So Kansas and UConn, Mike. I like UConn. I like the way they're playing. I'm taking UConn over Kansas.
Wow.
And I mentioned at Boise State, I have them taking out UCLA, and Gonzaga is there. So I have a UConn Gonzaga regional final, and I went back and forth. I actually picked Gonzaga. And then I went back and switched it. I am taking the UConn Huskies, Mike, into the Final Four.
Excellent. All right. Very good basketball team plays together.
Yep.
Juniors and sophomores, not freshmen. Although anybody that's a freshman by now has had a full season. I love that UConn team. You know that.
Yep.
That being said, I have them losing to Kansas.
Which is going to be a great game. Game.
I'll be rooting. This is a pick I made conscientiously, knowing I'll be rooting against myself.
Yep.
In this game, if it comes to fruition here, Kansas, again, I've said it the whole podcast. Juggernaut, as blue blood as they come, all the pedigree, coaching. I mean, just all of it. So I have them moving on to the Final Four after they beat UCLA, who just can't overcome the final challenges between injuries and being met with the same tenacity and the same talent, athleticism. So that's my pick there, buddy. Kansas over UCLA, and we are in the Final Four.
Yep. So Mike has Arizona against Duke, Miami versus Kansas. I have Alabama versus Purdue, and Texas versus UConn.
So we have 8 different teams.
Oh my gosh, we do. We have 8 different teams.
I guess it is wide open this year.
Yeah. And people have said there's 15
folks.
teams that could win. I picked 4. You picked 4. There's 8 right there.
Right. And it's going to be none of the 8. No,
yeah. And I believe me, I don't care for the fact that I have Alabama getting this far. But they are just
we got to put that aside.
Yeah, they're a very, very good team. And so I have them winning in that half of the bracket, Mike, and I have Texas winning against UConn.
Wow.
What say you for your games?
Talk to me before we do that about your thinking on Texas. I mean, in general, I know we've gone through the matchups and stuff, but do you really?
Yeah,
they feel here's what I like to do sometimes. Can you picture the confetti falling on the University of Texas Longhorns at the end of their last game?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah,
absolutely. Then it's a fair pick. That's the only criteria at this point.
Yeah, I mean they beat Kansas twice. They beat Gonzaga, Baylor. They beat Creighton.
Okay.
Really the only kind of bad loss, I guess you would say, is Illinois. But Illinois is also in the tournament. So
was a number 3 seed, I think, or 4 anyway. The decent seeding too.
Right. So Texas,
solid basketball team.
Yeah. So just very, very solid. So I just like them, and so that's where they're at. So I have Alabama against Texas. Mike, who do you have in the championship game?
You're gonna hate this, buddy.
Oh, don't do it.
Literally blue on blue crime.
Oh no.
Duke and
Kansas. Oh,
if I'm in for a pound, I'm in for a penny, or in for a penny, in for a pound with Duke. If I'm going to take them now, and for all the reasons I've said leading up to this, I have to give them at least a championship game.
Yep.
And then
who's winning, Mike?
Kansas. It's a back-to-back for the first time since the early 90s, Dave, what we talked about last week. It's 23 years or something like that. Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
No longer than that, 33.
Yeah.
It's due, if you want to look at it that way. But this Kansas team has all the capabilities of repeating. And because it's so wide open on the other end, I don't know that there's somebody out there that can challenge them for that. So that's my thinking there. Again, when we get to Final Four and championship, I go big picture. That's all we're literally cutting hairs.
And splitting them too.
Oh, first you got to cut them.
Then you got to split them. So what's interesting, Mike, is your Duke Kansas was Duke beat Kansas in one of those 2 back-to-back championship games eons ago when Roy Williams was the coach at Kansas. A little Adonis Jordan there with Kansas, if you remember that, pulling out all the stops. Of course, Greg Kubek was on your Duke team at that point as well.
Right. First player to go to the Final Four all 4 years.
4 years straight. Yep.
Him and Cherokee Parks. How's that for a name?
Anyways, so Mike
you got a big fella.
Yeah, I have Texas and Alabama there, and I have Texas winning, Mike. I'm all in on the Longhorns.
The confetti, you had already had that image in your head.
Yep, there it was. And I can't. I have to get at some point where I just have to pick against Alabama. So it was the national
Right.
championship game.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
So Big 12 all the way. Mike has Kansas. I have Texas.
Right. I mean, they got 9 out of the 10 teams in, correct?
8 or 9. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
lot. They had the
a
most
lot.
of any league getting into tournaments. So there you go, folks.
Yeah. Do you want to reveal your tie-breaking final score, or do you think people
Oh,
don't care?
yeah. I've got 75-71.
I got 73-70. Very
The
interesting.
only thing that we've been close on the entire time.
No, this is great. So one of us is going to be very happy, and one of us is going to say, "Oh, baseball's starting soon, and NBA playoffs are here." I don't start watching hockey until this time of year.
Yeah.
So we'll get into all that. But
yeah. So it's going to be interesting with 8 different teams.
Yeah.
Most years, Mike and I have some similar teams. We both had Villanova last year, so we both got, waxed pretty early on there. And our brackets had a lot of X's in them and not enough highlighter as far as we were concerned. So, folks, hope you liked it. Lots of details there, lots of games to break down. Can't wait for the games to start on Thursday. Don't forget to connect with us. Not by video right there, because my video just doesn't want to work. Don't forget to connect with us and do a bracket in the Think Tank Sports Bracket Challenge. We'd love to see you and be able to talk about that and talk about the leaderboards and see what's going on as far as that goes. And check us out on the socials, listen to us, watch us on YouTube here at Think Tank Sports, where we think and you listen as we strive for 5.